Good day, everyone. You're welcome to this week's Business and Investment Tips program, a production of RCCG Christ Church Radio with Dr. Ayodeji Ebo, an investment professional. This week, we focus on key takeaways from July 2025 inflation numbers and expectations. Last week, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, released the Consumer Price Index CPI report for July 2025. The CPI measures inflation by tracking changes in the prices of goods and services that households purchase. By analyzing these price variations over time, we can gain valuable insight into economic trends and overall cost of living. The CPI is calculated monthly, and inflation is expressed in two primary ways: by comparing prices of goods and services from July 2025 to July 2024 year on year, and from July 2025 to June 2025 month on month. According to the report, Nigeria's headline inflation eased to 21.88% year on year in July 2025 relative to 22.22% year on year in June 2025. However, on a month-on-month basis, headline inflation rose for the second consecutive month to 1.99% month-on-month in July 2025 compared to 1.68% month-on-month in June 2025. Food inflation, a critical component of the CPI basket, also increased year-on-year for the second consecutive month to print at 22.74% in July 2025 compared to 21.97% year-on-year in June 2025. On a month-on-month basis, food inflation declined by 0.13 percentage points to 3.12% in July 2025 from 3.25% in June 2025. Core inflation, which excludes agricultural products and energy items, continued its downward trend, declining to 21.33% in July 2025 from 22.76% year-on-year in the previous month. On a month-on-month basis, core inflation sharply moderated to 0.97% from 2.46% in June 2025. Key takeaways: 1. Prices are still rising at a faster pace on a month-on-month basis, but the year-on-year increase is moderating. That means inflationary pressures in the short term are intensifying. This could limit the chance of immediate interest rate cuts at the next MPC meeting. 2. Food prices remain elevated, with costs continuing to rise each month. Between June and July, average food prices increased by 3.12%. To put this in perspective, a food item that cost 1,000 naira last month now costs about 1,031 naira 20 kobo. If prices continue to rise at the same pace every month, that same item could cost 1,374 naira 40 kobo in a year. 3. The easing of the core inflation can be attributed to stability in foreign exchange rates. The exchange rate has remained within a narrow band throughout July. 4. Major contributors to inflation include food and drinks 8.7%, restaurants and hotels 2.8%, and transportation 2.3%. Food constitutes a significant portion in people's spendings, so when food prices rise, it complicates life, particularly for families. Transport and housing costs also impact individual finances, and these are expenses that are difficult to avoid. 5. Borno 34.5%, Niger 27.2%, and Benue 25.7% experienced the most significant increase in prices between July 2024 and July 2025, possibly due to the insecurity affecting agricultural production and supply chains. In contrast, Yobe 11.4%, Zamfara 12.7%, and Katsina 15.6% saw the slowest rises, attributed to localized price corrections or reduced demand pressure. In summary, the July 2025 inflation report shows a further decline in inflation, but food inflation continued to rise. Policymakers should address food supply challenges, stabilize energy costs, and customize regional measures to sustain falling inflation and support economic stability. Inflation expectations: we expect headline inflation to decline further in August 2025, supported by stable foreign exchange and energy prices as the Dangote refinery sustained its distribution strategy, which eliminates transportation costs for fuel marketers and large-scale consumers. Food inflation will continue to be a significant pressure due to insecurity in key food-producing regions such as Benue State. Thank you for listening. Please join us same time next week for another interesting and insightful session. For questions, comments, and feedback, kindly forward to ebo.ayodeji@gmail.com or send an SMS to 07082463747. Stay blessed and have a great week. Bye.